Hi guys, you welcome back, and we're looking at text in CSS today. Yep. So let's just start. What are we teaching today will be size and type face of text, bold, italics, the properties, spacing in between lines, words, and letter. So why should you control your text? So being able to control your text allows you to control the controlling your text will affect you know affect the fonts and appearance of the text, including typeface, whether it's regular, bold, or italic, um, and to have effects on your text, including color of the text and spacing between the letters of the text. Okay, so how much of your text can have a significant effect on how readable your pages are. So we're going to be looking at font typefaces, studying typefaces, looking at those property and design tips and display type. So let's just start by doing something like text just HTML and maybe text.css. Alright, so I'll just create a boilerplate. Ah, sorry, my truth. So I'm just going to invert text. Okay, let's do something simple. That's really good. Or let's do what's block? Can I put? Let's do something like what you should know. Or yeah, the text styling in CSS. Let's do P and give the class of credit. Then I do by UB codes. Alright, then let's give this a paragraph. I'm just going to copy what is here. I think that's a bit simple. Is okay. And let's come back to text and let's put something here. So let's have something. Right. Okay, so I'll just take this. Right, let's give it a class of intro. And let's come down here and give it and give another p tag. Okay. I just want this to be kind of formatted over here. Take this to the next line. Okay, so I just wanted to look well. Alright, so I'm really thinking of okay, let's link it to our external style sheets and we'll do think text is what we named it. So that I haven't done that. So let's open this on our live server. So this is it by viewers. Okay, so let's go to our text sense and let's start it. So we're gonna start each one the p class with credit and let's just move. So this is looking at to be font family. All right, what can we do about font family? So let's open this by the side. So you can give the body font family of Georgia. Yep. So sometimes what this means, why do we have so much fonts? It's just advisable that you use fonts that are downloaded. And later on, some of projects I've done, some of the fonts that we use were not downloaded. So we had to get it from Google. And there's a way to go about that. So in a case like this, when you're using font like this, it's going to check the system or the system of your users, whosoever it may be. If Georgia is not there, it's check for Times New Romans. If Times New Roman is not there, check for Times. Somehow, out of all the four, out of all the suggested, at least one would be there. So that's the purpose of having this long list. So this is how you work with font family. Now let's work with font size. Okay, let's come here. Let's do our credits. All right, and let's give the font size of 12 pixels. So now, if you just I thought I gave it 12 pixels, but the 16 pixels I gave it. The default size of the web browser, the font size is 16 pixels. So you don't see any change. But by this, you will see a change. You can also change the font family to be okay. Give you a color of purple. Okay. Right. So I could come here and my UB codes. I could give you bold UB codes. Then I could come out here instead of giving this a purple. I could just say I color. Sorry. Oh, purple doesn't seem to be so obvious. So I said IB. So we have that there. So do you get the concept? So what's the thing we should know about fonts and all? Come, I think I put up something for that right now. So let's start by looking at the various font families we have. You have serif, you have sans serif, and you have monospace. Alright. So serif fonts have extra details on the ends of the main stroke of the letters. These details are known as serif. So in print, serif fonts were traditionally used for long messages of text because they were considered easier to read. So you can see where they say they have details on the ends of the main strokes. As you can see down here, that they have details on the ends. I'm trying to see, can I edit that so you can see what I'm trying to say? So yeah, so they have main strokes on the ends, and you can see this extra stroke here, this extra stroke here, this extra stroke here. So that's what I mean. They have main strokes on the end, and they were used for um long passages text because they were considered easier to read. Yeah. So then sans serif on another and sans serif fonts have straight end letters and therefore have a much cleaner design. As you can see, you can't see much of those. There's no extra as you would have seen it here. Alright. So screens have lower resolution than print. So if the text is small, sans serif fonts can be clearer to read. Then monospace. Every letter in a monospace or fixed width font is the same width. Non-monospace fonts have different width. Monospace fonts are commonly used for code because they align nicely, making the text easier to follow. So that's that. So next, we're going to look at this font weight. I don't think we have implemented that yet. Yeah, okay, let's look at this before we go to font weight. So another thing you should realize, this monospace, every letter in a monospace typeface is the same width. Non-monospace fonts have different widths. Examples, Courier and Courier. So cursive. Cursive fonts either have joining strokes or other cursive characteristics such as handwriting styles. Examples are Comic Sans, MS, and Monotype Cursiva. As you can see, like the names are in the way the font looks. There is also fantasy. And fantasy fonts are usually decorative fonts and are often used for titles. They are not designed for long bodies of text. Because I feel like it's going to be so draining, and eye stressing to actually read a long message passage with this. Alright. So Okay, let's go back. Before I explain the rest, let's kind of go back to how this is going to look. Okay, so let's take a look at font size. I think I want to touch something on that. Come on. Yeah, let's look at font size. So we have pixels, we have percentages, and we have EMS. You can also search this online. You'll be able to find something like this and how it is. So setting font size in pixels is the best way to ensure that the type appears at the same size you intended, because like percentages and EMs are more likely to vary if a user has changed default size of text in the browser. So pixels are related to the resolution of the screen. So the same type size will look larger when the screen has a resolution of 800 times 600 than it will look when it has 12 180 1280 times 800. You get. So you can also use PT for point sizes instead of pixels, but you should only do that like when you're creating style sheets for printer friendly versions of pages. Then again, I mentioned this earlier that the default size of the text in the web browser is 16 pixels. So like when I know initially I wanted to set the size to be 12 pixels, but I was saying 12, but I was setting 16. So I noticed that there was no change until I actually set it to 12 pixels. So that's the proof that the default size of the text of the web browser is actually 16 pixels. So using percentage of this amount, you can create like a scale where the default size is 12 pixels and headings are sized in relation to this. So it is possible for users to change the default size of their text in their web browsers. If they have done this, the fonts will be displayed at the same scale that you actually intended, but perhaps in a larger size. So then what of EMS? EMS actually allows you to change the size of a text relative to the size of the text in the parent element. So since the default size of the text in the web browser is 16 pixels, you can use similar rules to those shown for percentages, because users can change the default size of their text in their browser. The fonts could also appear larger or smaller than how you actually intended. Then the extra P rule is to help like old versions. That's what they meant by Internet Explorer 6 and 7 display the font at the right size. So without this extra tree, IE 6 and IE 7 exaggerate relative size of other text. So that's what you need to know about text size and all that. So we've done font size. Now pixels, again to emphasize, is commonly used. This is commonly used like for beginners. I'm sorry for saying, I don't think training for beginners is wise, but it's used for precise control. Alright. Then percentage is like the default size of a text. So if you're like I mentioned before, the default size of this thing is 16 pixels. So that means 70% will be 12 pixels and 200% will be 32 pixels. Then EM is the width of letter M basically. So fun fact, EM is the width of letter M. So let's look at font weight. Right? Let's look at font weight. Let's take the first. Here we have give this a class of intro. Alright. So I'm going to take alright, let's use our credits and let's give the font weight of bold. Okay, so you can see that has been bolded. So instead of using bold here, I could use something called span. So these are so additional things you all can learn. I could use something called span, and I come here and do span. I can give you a font weight of bold. That way, it will only apply to my Ubiquit, and I can give it a color. Sorry, I could comment out this font weight here, and I could give it a color of purple as I intended. As I intended. What's going on with my tongue tonight? So you get how this works. So that's just to show you how bold works. Alright. Or you could there's even bolder. So whatever we wish to use. And you could have font weight to be normal too. You could set the font weight here. Or let's use our intro. And if you're wondering where I got intro from, intro was a class that I gave this paragraph. So it said this one's font weight to be what, normal, right? But it's not going to change anything because the font weight is very normal. So that's basically how it works. Then what of font style? Alright. So font style are things like normal, italic, oblique. So it could be that my span here, I could give it a font style of italic instead of using my eye. As you can see, it's been bent here. Well, oh, I could give my font style here to be italic. So you can see that that changes it. And there's also font style of oblique. Okay, that also is in similitude with italic. They look alike. So yeah. Then there's also something we call text transform. So it could be the case that I want to transform the what ubiquotes here. I think I'll increase the size. Let's increase this to 24. I don't know why, but I kind of want you guys to see the changes I'm making. So um this plan that we use here, we can use something called text transform, right? And text transform we can use either capitalize. When you use capitalize, it makes everything okay. It's not be wise for me to use here. So I'm going to take this text transform capitalize and put it in my intro here, and you can see that what it's going to do is that it's going to turn all the first letter to be capital letter. So comment this out and see the changes. So if I put it back, you see that the first letter of each word becomes capital letter. Then if I use text transform uppercase, everything here becomes uppercase, right? Then if I use text transform, let's use our H1. Let's use a text transform of lowercase. So I could come here somewhere below it is and give H1 a text transform of lowercase. Okay, you can see everything here is in lowercase. Alright, so that's how text transform works. Then there's also something called text decoration. You mostly see this when you're probably using links. Alright, so okay, let's just do something now. So this ubiquitous at this span will give it a text decoration of underline. So instead of having to probably use do this underline with your HTML, you can also do it in CSS. Then you have underline, okay, we have overline, and we have line through, yeah, and there's also none. Then use none mostly when you're using for this thing. And there's blink. So I think I'll leave it as underline. I think underline is more common and makes more sense. So that's basically it. Then we have something called line height. Okay. So let's go to our paragraph. Alright. I'm gonna give this a line height. You can specify how much you want. Let's say um 14 pixels. See, it's more compressed. So if I say something like 42 pixels, which is quite outrageous, but you can see how much spacing we have given each of the paragraphs. So if let me give this a class, the last paragraph a class of main, something like that. So I could come here and just do this as main. So I'm not getting confused anyway, right? You can see that. So sometimes if you want your this thing not to be too choked up together, so like your they can have a better way, so you can use 22. That's depending on how how late you are, right? So there's line height and there's letter spacing. Okay, so letter spacing will space each letter. So if I do this 3px, you can see how spaced that is. Then Let's go to the one for our credit. I think I want to put this up. Okay. For our credit, let's use our word spacing, and let's give it like distance of 4 pixels. Or okay, and let me do something a bit more obvious. If it goes on like 15 pixels, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Okay, it shouldn't matter. Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong place. We gave the word spacing to UB codes. I didn't want to give the word spacing to you, so I was waiting for this to change. So I was supposed to go to intro and give a word spacing of about, let's go, about 12 pixels, and you can see that the words are actually being spaced. Okay, then there's also text align. So let's go to our p tags. Let's target our p tags and give it text align center. You can see, just like your word, there's text align left, there's text align right. Okay, and there's shrink. Right, so let's just leave it, let's leave it as center. Something center seems dramatic. Okay, all right. Now there's something called studio elements, and we're going to take a look at that now. So there's a way we can style the first letter and the first word. So let's go to p intro, and we're going to give this let's do we'll come down and do it again, say intro, and do first letter. Okay, and we're going to give it a font size of 200%, and you can see this has happened. Okay, then let's go to main. Okay, our main is our second paragraph. Okay, and we can give a first word. Sorry, I mean first line. All right, and we should give it font weight of bold, so you can see this happening right here. And whether it's like this or it's like this, it's looking, it's always going to be the first line that's going to be bold. So these are pseudo elements. So first letter is just to make the first letter this size. You can use to transform it, or if you want, you can give it a color too of what um color of purple too. Sorry, I like purple. It's my favorite color. Yet, so that's it. So that's how you style it. Then styling links. Okay, styling links. So let's try and do something that has to do with links. So let's do something like, let's do a div. I'll give a class of socials. Okay, so we're going to do like a h3 or h4. I'm say here are the links to my social. None of this makes sense. Okay, so we have ul, there's a I, let's give it a. So I'm just going to copy this down 3 more times, and let's do Instagram, Telegram, sweeter, just sweeter and keto. Okay, so we're just using this for this thing. Why would this not work? It does show something. Something's off. What's wrong? Okay, yeah, yeah. Sorry. You see, we didn't put this in between our A tags. That's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah. So you would notice that this is looking very ugly. So you can come back to our CSS and actually style our links. So you could give our links a decoration, text decoration of none. Okay, you could do that, or you could say a link. This, okay, it's still going to have the same thing. So what I will do is that it will set styles, right? It set styles for the links when you have not clicked them. Okay, so if you say something like visited, so it's going to say how the link looks, how the link should look when it has been visited. But this has not been visited too, so I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just going to comment that out, for just for you to know that that exists. So we also have active. So active is when the link has been activated. So let's try giving that a color of red. So if I click on this, can I see that red color that happens? Then there's also another one called focus. Right, it shows that the user can actually interact with it. I'm going to kind of give this a color of pink. It seems to be doing the same thing. Okay. Right, so this one will be more useful when you're using, you'll see more of the difference when you're using forms and you are working with inputs. So this is just for you to have an idea, and more practice will make you have more hands-on, experience and all that. So I feel like I'm missing some things that listed out I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, so these are attribute selectors. Okay, so existence, yeah. So when you have that bracket, it matches a specific attribute. So P into that big square bracket targets P elements with an attribute called class. Okay, and equality matches a specific attribute with a specific value. So if you want to target, when we want to style a class, like when we're trying to style the paragraph with the class intro with the P dot intro. So if you don't want to do that, you can do P. If you have many, we had two paragraphs that had different intros. So we could do P dot that, or another way we could also do could be P into that square bracket class is equals to dog. Okay, then space. Then this one said it matches a specific attribute whose value appears in the space separated word. So it targets P elements with an attribute called class whose value is a list or space separated words of which is dog. Then we have prefix of this. So that matches a specific attribute whose value begins with a specific string. So it targets any P element with an attribute whose values begins with the letter D. So that one is targeting the one that starts with a particular string. Then substring matches a specific attribute whose value contains a specific substring. So it targets P elements with the attribute whose values contains the letters do. You get, so because this is like do. Then suffix. So what suffix will do is to match a specific attribute whose values ends in a specific string. Okay, so it targets any p element that with an attribute that ends with letter G. So that's what that will do. So I think we've come to the end of this. I think I've covered everything. Okay, I think I didn't look at this. Let's look at this. So this is just something about fonts and showing you different fonts font weights. So font weights, you got this is how light looks like. That's how medium, bold, and dark looks like. So the font weight not only adds emphasis but also affect the amount of white space and contrast on the page. Then style, you have normal, italic, and oblique. Then italic fonts have a cursive aspect to some of the lettering. Oblique font style takes the normal style, then puts it in an angle. So italic fonts, that's because it's sometimes not so obvious to see the difference between italics and oblique. Like when we did, you said both of them were slanty. But now it's saying that italics have they kind of add this cursive style to it. But what oblique will do is that let's take the normal font and actually just tilt it. And from technical drawing, we did that. Oblique is basically 75, it's 45%, forgive me. Then stretch, condensed, regular, extended. So in condensed or narrow version of the font, letters are thinner and closer together. In extended versions, they are thicker and further apart. Okay, so this place is just trying to um explain this image here is trying to explain how the fonts look like and explaining like different compartments in it. So the first one you can see there is the ascender above the cap, right? The one that comes from the H from the T rather is cap height top of flat letters. Then the remaining is X height of the letter X. Then baseline line the letters sit on and descender below the baseline. So this brings us to the end of this YouTube tutorial this tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next one. And next one, talk about boxes and CSS. So I love you all. Stay blessed, stay coding, and I'm waiting for you to finish the end of the stuff. So bye.